I'm hoping that working with the shoulders in the gentle way we're going to do today is going to help you not only lose a little bit of this. We all kind of tend to slouch and our heart just kind of caves in and we lose our capacity sometimes in the day to have that bright, open-hearted feeling. And then opposite from that, besides the slouch, the collapse that we often can get, we can have just the opposite problem where we push, where we squeeze the shoulder blades together. We try to have this pushing outward in the front in order to keep our shoulders back, and both are taxing to the body. Both are exhausting to the body to have this kind of push and pull. And really, what we're looking for, like we are in every part of our body, is a sense of freedom, but especially across the chest and shoulders and neck. When we have this sense of freedom, our breath is much more capable of being natural and full, without strain or difficulty. And we also just can walk around with a little bit more of a courageous, open heart where we can meet that adaptability with grace. So, keeping the shoulders in a healthy way are very important. And the last thing I want to say about it is that. If you've ever had a shoulder injury, and I've injured both my shoulders, but if you've ever had a shoulder injury, you know how frustrating it can be to even just simply lift your arm over your head and the pain that can ensue when you're working with trying to get a good range of motion in your shoulder. So, as always, work within a range that is healthy for you. So, if we're doing something that requires a really large movement in the body, if you need to narrow that movement down, always experiment with different vectors of movement that can support your well being. Okay, so let's go ahead and close your eyes and sit up straight and tall and take a moment to just enjoy that sense of presence. Here you are carving out some time for your yoga practice. So let's enjoy that time. See if you can get the feeling that you have a lot of release, a capability of dropping into the earth, a grounding sensation. Can you let the low belly relax a little bit? Can you let the pelvic floor relax a little bit? On your inhales, let these things relax and see what it feels like to let your sense of relaxation help you ground. And then from there, feel that expansiveness through your spine. Notice if there's a push upward. Can you lose the push? Can you lose the pull? Can you instead come into a place where your body feels at ease, where you feel spacious, expansive, free, supported? And then start to feel into the span of your chest, neck, and shoulders. Can you feel your collarbones broaden out like they're highways running from your sternum to your shoulders? Can you feel the shoulder blades drop down just a bit? You don't have to crunch them down and yank them like they're on taut bands attached to your sacrum, but just get a feeling that they can descend, that they have a slight weight attached to the bottom of them that lets them drop. And imagine when your shoulder blades drop that the roof of your shoulder broadens and opens just a little bit. Flip your palms up on your legs. And once again, get that feeling of a broadness across the sternum, the chest, without pinching the shoulder blades together. Relax your neck. Let your skull be supported and suspended on your spine. Can you let it just rest and balance instead of feeling like you have to hold? Can you find the perfect place for your head so that the base of your skull is not straining? The inner walls of your throat are not straining. Find a sweet spot of perfect balance. For some, that might mean dropping the chin down and in a little bit. For others, it might mean lifting the chin up. It just depends on where your natural set point is for your head. Can you feel the plumb line from the crown to the pelvic floor? And of course, there's curves along the way, but that center line that just drops down. Imagine a light shining in two directions, from the crown down to the pelvic floor into the earth. And also from the pelvic floor shining up through your body into the crown. Discover your breath within this alignment, within the ease of your head balancing, the ease of your shoulders opening. Find the deep, expansive breath, all directions, the sunbeam of your breath shining its rays in all directions. Place your hands together at your heart and bow in. Create an intention. How can having an open heart and relaxed shoulders support your day? What happens when you have that sense of space? And then let's release the hands and come down onto our back. So lie down. Find that sense of ease where you can have a lot of space, a lot of room, and stretch your limbs. Okay. And notice already when we have our arms over our head or out to the sides, wherever you place them, what's the condition of your shoulders? So if you can, stretch your arms overhead, and if that's not available, take them where they are available and just feel the awakening. So when we come with our arms overhead, we're in a little bit of a back bend, which is very invigorating for the heart space. So let's stretch one side of the body, stretch the other. Enjoy the opening through your sides, and then relax your shoulders down. Okay. Excuse me. Cactus, open your arms. So, excuse me, bend your elbows so that your hands are coming down toward the floor. And you might notice that you easily let your backs of your hands rest on the floor, and you might notice that your hands don't touch the floor. So everybody's got a little bit different range of motion in their subscapularis. That's what's stretching open here. If you're able to relax the backs of your hands and wrists on the ground, your subscaps are pretty open and free. And if you can barely get your fingers on the ground, and certainly not your wrists or your hands, then that represents a little tightness in your subscapularis muscle. And it can get tight from a lot of sitting at a desk and computing, and it's an internal rotator. So just feel into the relaxation here. Allow your shoulders to melt as best as you can. And then if you're touching the ground somewhere with your forearms or elbows, let's slide your arms up from here and stretch them up over your head again. Wiggle fingers and toes. And then release and relax your arms and bring your knees into your chest and rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. Okay, ease your spine. Let your spine rock, even your head, let it rock left and right. Melt through the base of your skull. And let's open the knees up and spin some circles with our knees. Let our hips warm, our hip joints warm a little bit. All right, and then go ahead and roll around your ankles while you're here. So just wake up your feet. Swivel around, move your toes. And then starfish open your body, limbs wide and broad. Navel stretches to your fingers and toes. And then exhale and draw your head up. Knees come in, round the spine a little bit. Let's do that one more time. Inhale to expand open. Stretching to your edges. And then exhale to round in. And release
your head back down, release your feet back down, take your feet wide on the mat, and just begin to windshield wiper your knees, just waking up the hips and the side bodies and the back a little bit. Okay. All right, now we're going to start to work with stretching open the chest. So as you drop your knees left, stretch your right arm out and up like that starfish feeling. Reach into your limbs. Pause here for a moment. Lengthen your knees away from your fingers away from your knees, and find that cross body connection. And then come back to center. Drop your knees over to the right. Stretch your left arm out and up. Hand on the floor, palm facing the sky. Reach into the chest, reach into the legs. And then relax. Now let's roll all the way over to come into a little ball on your left side. Okay, and just bring your elbows to touch. You can always put a block or a blanket underneath your head if you need some support. And then we're going to open up the chest. So keep the knees together, and it's okay if they come offline a little bit. We're going to open up the chest, twist open, bring your hand to come back toward the floor. Maybe it touches the floor. Breathe into the chest. All right, and then come back to center. Place the palms together again. Now let's roll right over onto our right side. Support your head if you need it. Palms are together, knees are together. Take a deep breath, open up the left arm and stretch it open all the way to the floor behind you. Turn your head. And don't worry if you don't reach the floor. Sometimes you get even more of a stretch if you're not touching the floor. Just find the awakening of your pecs. Okay, and then let's relax and melt that back down. Come back onto your back. Roll, you put your feet on the floor. Roll your wrists around here. Okay, you can swirl your fingers, move your wrists, whatever feels good. And then one more time, stretching your arms overhead, lengthening through your body. Exhale, knees into the chest, head up, and roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. Okay, so find a sense of balance through your hands. See if you can make the connection. You know, a lot of times when we forget about our hands, when we're focused on other things, our index finger mounds lose the floor. So notice that happens for you. And when we lean into the outer wrists, it does have an impact all the way through to our shoulders. So press into the index finger mound and notice what changes in your shoulders. Hug your hands toward each other on the floor so that your lats and your serratus, the two muscles on the sides of your rib cage, really engage and support you. Don't let this be so much where you're, really tense, but just a slight activation. So we're not giving it, we're only like 20% of our effort, just an awakening of those side body muscles. Let's start to move into some cat-cows, arching and rounding the spine, moving with breath. Of course, if you can't be on your knees or you can't be on your palms, you can always do this pose standing up. You can round and arch the spine in a standing position very easily. So it doesn't have to be on your hands and knees to do cat-cows. All right, and then move things around. Swirl your spine. You can do some circles in your pelvis. You can do some swaying from side to side, whatever feels really nice in your body. So feel free to swirl around, do any kind of movement that feels good. All right, and then we're going to settle our hips back toward our heels and come into child's pose. Remember, you can modify any posture. Walk the hands in front of you. Now see how your shoulders are. If this is difficult for your shoulders, either back away, bend your elbows a little bit so there's not so much strain, or try taking your hands wider. Try turning your thumbs up toward the sky. All sorts of different movement patterns can help you find a range of motion that's comfortable for your shoulders. Breathe deeply here. And now let's walk over to one side and feel that side body stretch. So of course the rib cage probably is the epicenter of what you feel, but travel the sensation from your fingertips down your wrist, through your arm, into your shoulder, into your ribs, into your side waist, all the way to your sit bones. Keep melting the base of the skull. If you tend to be a habitual head holder,
Let things go. And then walk over to the other side and feel the sense of stretch from fingers traveling through into your triceps, into your shoulder, your rib cage, your side waist, into your pelvis, your SI joint, down to your sit bone. Breathe here. And then come back to center. Come on to all fours. Inhale, let's do our twist that we often do. Reach that arm to the sky. Slide the shoulder underneath you and gaze toward the floor. Now, once again, if this is too deep of a twist, you can back off. There's always ways to modify. All right, now we're going to unwind the twist a little bit. So come facing toward the floor with your chest. Keep the arm underneath you. It'll have to slide a little bit. And just stretch the back side of your shoulder capsule. Breathe into the length of your triceps, the posterior deltoid muscle on the back side of your shoulder. And then release and relax. If you want, reach that arm up to the sky, otherwise place it right down. Find your index finger mounds again. Feel the engagement. So everybody lose your index finger mounds and lean into your outer ribs. And notice you're probably got a little heavier in your bones. You probably got a little locked in your elbow joints. And see what it feels like if you root into those index finger mounds. What lights up? Can you feel what lights up in your torso, in your shoulders, in your arms? And let's lift the other arm up in the air. Exhale and slide that shoulder down. Gaze toward the floor. Feel that sense of ease. Breathing deeply. Good. Go ahead and come out just a little bit. So we're not coming all the way out. Let your hips drop back towards child's pose and just dole this out just the right amount for you. So pay attention to that shoulder socket. You want the capsule to stretch a little bit, but not overdo. Can your collarbones still be highways from your sternum to your shoulders? Can you relax the base of your skull? How does one shoulder feel versus the other? And then inhale and reach that arm all the way back up in the air and place the hand down again. Find your index finger mounds, light up through your torso, curl your toes under and find, before you do that, let me just say, there's so many different ways to think about placing your hands in dog pose. A nice general rule of thumb is to turn your fingers toward each other, touch your middle fingertips to each other, and then spin your hands out from there. That's a good starting point. Now for you, you might need to be wider or more narrow. You might need to turn your fingers in or out or turn them out. So sometimes we have the middle finger pointing up, sometimes the index finger pointing up. There's really, when you hear a teacher say it must be this way, I would be very wary of that kind of statement. You need to find for yourself what supports your shoulders best. So that could be a starting point, and then from there you can find your way into what feels self-supporting. Yield. Root the index finger mounds into the earth. Can you feel the invigoration through your side ribs so you're not lazy and locked and it's easy to collapse into the shoulders. So see what it feels like to have a little hot air balloon underneath your armpits. Hug your index finger mounds to the ground and your hands a little bit toward each other. It doesn't have to be any great effort. And then reach your heart toward the pelvis. So you're really extending through the shoulders instead of locking the shoulder blades on the back. Let the shoulder blades move and find that sense of extension. Stay grounded through the index finger mounds so you feel the support through your torso. Hug your hands toward each other so you feel the support through your torso. And everybody lose that for a minute. Lose your index finger mounds, lose your hands, and notice what happens. Do your shoulders get more burdened? Root the index finger mounds, hug the hands toward each other, and lift the heart to the hips. Relax your head. Breathing deeply. Feel free to pedal your feet. We're focusing a lot on the upper body, but don't forget you have a lower body. Don't forget you have a breath. All right, and then walk your feet forward and fold in Uttanasana. Knees can bend. Feel free to wag your tail. Okay, and then rise all the way up. Come to stand. If you're dizzy, take a moment. Let your body find its way. Take a deep breath in. Reach the arms up. Maybe your arms don't like to be up. See where the vector of movement's best for you. Can you find that same action where we're extending through the shoulders instead of locking the shoulder blades down the back? Can you find a balance point where the musculature of your back is working, but you're still able to extend your shoulders up? And now cactus your arms and let the shoulder blades come down the back a little bit. Open things up, find your breath. And then exhale and relax. Forearms come to touch. Protract your shoulder blades, so feel them spread apart. And then retract your shoulder blades, palms out, cactus arms, shoulder blades moving toward each other. One more time, protract the shoulder blades, spreading them apart from each other. And then inhale, cactus arms, retract the shoulder blades, bring them toward each other. All right, and then relax. Shake out your hands, shake out your shoulders. We're gonna do what's called the wall clock. So first, I know we've done this stretch a lot, just in the air, but we're gonna do it against a wall right now. So have your left hand or right hand, whichever way. I'm gonna start with my left, which looks like my right because I'm mirrored probably to you. Drop the shoulder down away from the ears. Turn the eye of the elbow up toward the sky. The wrist and the shoulder are in line with each other. Gently root your hand into the wall. We're not pressing firm. We're just gently finding the wall. When you're ready, lift your ear and then drop your ear. And then lift your ear and drop your ear. This is a nerve glide for one of the big nerves in your arm. And then relax and shake that out. Second side, so palm faces the wall. We have our wrist and our shoulder lined up to each other. Spread your hands. You don't have to, hyper spread your fingers, but let them spread. Root your hand into the wall without having too much strain. And once you're there, lift your ear and drop your ear. Make sure you're breathing. Where do you want to inhale? Where do you want to exhale? If you work with your hands a lot, and I think most people who are on a computer do, this can be so good, right? To just get some airing out of the nerve sheaths for the nerve that runs from your neck all the way to your fingers. You have 3 main nerves that run down your arm that innervate and branch off. Getting them to free up is a really good thing. Now shake out your wrists. Okay. One more time, a big circle and relax. Okay, so then I have trouble with the wall space here that you can see me at, but the wall clock is literally, we're going to go a clock. So if we start with the right arm, we're going to do a clockwise rotation. And when we use the left arm, we're going to do a counterclockwise rotation. I don't know that you can see me all the way if I'm this close. I'll try to go over here. Okay, so with your right arm, put your hand at 1 o'clock on the clock. And because we're stretching the pecs, we're going to turn, so you can start with your whole body with your right side against the wall. So we're not facing the wall, we're facing away from the wall. Then we're going to take the right hand up to the 1 o'clock position, spread the hand, find your breath, and open up your pecs. Your pectoralis, you have 2 pec muscles. Your pectoralis minor muscle will get stretched in this position, and your pectoralis major will get stretched in all 3 positions we're going to do. Find your breathing, ground yourself, feel your Tadasana, relax the base of your skull. And then we're going to come down to 3 o'clock and open up the chest here, finding the breath. Be really mindful when you're doing 3 o'clock that you don't push the shoulder joint forward. You want to stay integrated, so we're not letting the shoulder joint pop out forward. And then take your hands to 5 o'clock. And this one may feel like less of a stretch for some people. For some people, it feels like just the right place. So you're at 5 o'clock on the clock. Have a breath. Enjoy it. And then when we swing, now we're going to turn our whole torso to face the wall, and we're going to have our arm cross in front of us. Our palm is now going to be out instead of facing the wall. So when we come into this position, the first position, 7 o'clock, doesn't feel like too much. Drop the shoulders, feel the collarbones stretch open their highways. And then we're going to move to 9 o'clock. I often hold, if you can see me, I often hold my arm like this when I'm in this position. It helps support my elbow a little bit, and it helps to facilitate a little bit deeper stretch across the back side of my shoulder. So you have a lot of muscles back there. You have your infraspinatus, you've got stretching your teres, and you're also stretching your posterior deltoid. So let's just enjoy it. How's the breath? Collarbones broad. And then we're going to move up to 11 o'clock. The last stop on the clock. We're facing the wall. The collarbones stay broad. Feel Tadasana in your legs. Feel the crown tail line. Spread open your hands. Spread the collarbones. Okay, and then relax and come away from the wall and stand in Tadasana for a moment and just feel the difference between your left and right sides. Take a breath. And then we're going to move to the wall and do the clock with our left arm. So now because we're going lefty, we're going to go counterclockwise instead of clockwise. So we start with our left side near the wall. And if you're right up against the wall, you won't have room. So, you can step away from the wall to whatever place your body needs for the stretch. So if you're very tight in your pecs, you might need to be a little further away from the wall. So just see where you need to be. The palm is up at 11 o'clock. We're stretching open through our pec minor. Ground yourself. Feel Tadasana. Try not to lose the rest of your body. Spread open the palm. Breathing deeply. Relax the base of your skull. Okay, and then we're going to move down to 9 o'clock. And once again, whenever your shoulder's in this position, it's easy to kind of like press the head of the capsule, the head of the shoulder capsule forward. See if you can keep integrated so we're not overstretching the shoulder capsule. One of the things to remember about stretching in general, it's rare that we kind of just stretch, right, without a lot of other things going on. When we do, we often go to places we like to stretch, which are usually the places we don't need to stretch because they're already loose. It already feels good to be in that position. So pay attention if you're in a spot where you're like, I just love this. That may be the spot where you tend to be lax, where you have a little bit too much stretch going on. So just notice for yourself and don't shy away from the places that you don't like to stretch because those are usually the ones you need a little bit more. Walk the hand down to, what o'clock is that? 7 o'clock. Okay, so we're still with our left side aligned to the wall. Once again, try not to let the shoulder joint roll forward. We're dropping the shoulder blade down, externally rotating the arm bone a little bit. Feel Tadasana. All right, now when we turn to go do the upswing of the clock, we're gonna face the wall with our torso. You can get close or far or however you need to be. We'll start at 5 o'clock. I like to have a little tug on my wrist for this pose. Whatever feels good. Collarbones broaden. Drop the shoulders. Start to feel into the base of the skull. Let it relax. And then when you're ready, you can climb up to 3 o'clock on the clock. And once again, maybe you like to have your hand at your elbow or your hand on your wrist to kind of stabilize that arm and give it a little bit of a traction. So whatever feels good. And then from here, when you're ready, make sure you're breathing. Find your Tadasana. Relax the shoulders, wide collarbones. When you're ready, go ahead and lift up to 1 o'clock on the clock. So it's worth taking time to slow down and stretch ourselves open, especially if you spend a lot of time at a computer or a lot of time on your phone or a lot of time driving or anything that's kind of bringing that hunched posture into your life. Having some big, broad, open shoulder stretches can be very helpful to return us back to our open state. Come out of there. Come onto your mat and just shake out your arms, shake out your hands. Find your breath. And take a deep breath in. Open your arms, nice gentle circle on up. Reach your hands behind you. Grab onto the right wrist with the left hand and reach your right, your right ear, up toward the sky. Okay, so finding the broadness across your collarbones. And then relax and switch. Grab onto your left wrist with your right hand, a little tug. Not so much of a tug that you lose the alignment of shoulder to shoulder. And then when you're ready, lift that ear up. Now, when you're here, you can drop your chin a little bit. You can lift your chin a little bit. If you tend to struggle with your ears, inner ears, if you lift your chin a little bit and touch your teeth gently to each other, it will open up the passageways in your eustachian tubes just a little bit. Okay. And then relax. All right, so let's just roll our shoulders a little bit. We're nice and free now. Let's find it into integrating into the rest of your body. Take your feet a little wider than your hips and let's just swing. Okay, your shoulders are nice and open for this, but maybe your spine isn't. So just find your way into the movement of your spine, breathing deeply. Okay, and then we're going to take our feet even wider off the mat, and we're going to bend our knee and stretch, bend into a squat, and stretch the other arm up. You can do this slowly, you can do this quickly. Feel the extension from your hand and your foot, long side body. All right, and then come back to center. Come to the front of your mat. Take a deep breath in, rise up. Exhale, bend your knees and float down. Relax your back, soften your skull. Let your head bobble a little bit. Loosen tension in the base of your skull. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Let's take our left foot back. Right foot comes forward, finding a lunge. Okay. Extend through the spine. Open up through your chest. Move your shoulders away from the ears. Breathing well. Wide, wide sit bones. All right, let's straighten the leg a little bit. Tuck your chin toward your chest. And then bend your knee and lift your heart. One more time, square hips, straighten the front leg a bit, tuck your chin. And then come into a full lunge. Rise up. You can take your front foot out to the side a little bit more. And let's find some different shoulder movements. So maybe you want to hold a little weight, like a rock in each hand, and open your arms out like platters out to the sides. Let this activate a lot of the back side of your shoulder blades. See if you can prevent yourself from jutting your rib cage forward when you're in this position. Integrate. Feel the grounding of your legs, the work in the backside of your shoulder blade. If you like that, if that's a part of you that needs waking, go back and forth. You can bring your palms toward each other and then open them out. And try to create this action from the backside of your shoulder blades. Integrate the rib cage. All right, then let's swing our arms in front of us. Rise up with your arms, stretch open. And then place the hands down, walk your back foot forward. Come into Uttanasana. Inhale for a halfway lift. Grab your blocks if you have to, and stretch your spine open. Feel the feet broaden. Feel the sit bones lift and broaden. Engage your kneecaps. Lift your quads. Feel the extension of your spine. How's your breathing? And then exhale and melt back down. Take your right foot back. Your left foot is forward into a lunge. Lengthen through your spine. Find your body. Feel the shoulders move away from the ears. Nice and relaxed shoulders. So we don't have to round. We don't have to lock. We can be nice and easy. Let's start to bend and straighten that front knee a couple times. So square hips, straighten the leg a bit, tuck the chin toward the chest. And then bend your knee and stretch through your heart, collarbones broad. Go ahead again. Where do you want to inhale? Where do you want to exhale? All right, and then come into a steady state. And let's go ahead and press your feet down into the ground and rise on up again. So find your way up. Palms are facing up toward the sky, hands in front of you, and let's do the same thing. See what it feels like to roll your hands out to the sides, holding weight. Put a little extra weight, a little rock in each hand will help you integrate those shoulder blades, and find your way back. And just see what it feels like to move here a little bit, to feel the sense of stability through your torso while you're doing it. So we're engaging a bit in the core. We're finding that integration of the rib cage so that we're not just popping out and bringing it in and popping out and bringing it in. We want to let the shoulder blades do the work instead of the spine. Okay, and then pause there for a moment with your hands out. Feel the work of those smaller muscles in the backside of your shoulders. And then when you're ready, arms straight up in the air. Feel that extension lengthen through your sides. Breathe well. And then place your hands down onto the ground. Come back to dog pose. Extend through your spine here. Full breaths in, full breaths away. Hug toward the midline with those hands. Root the index finger mounds. All right, and then let's come forward into a plank, which is often a difficult pose for shoulders. You can always put your knees down to support you in this posture, still with the index finger mounds grounding, still with the hands moving toward each other. Now, what does it feel like to not hunker the chest, but to broaden the collarbones and use some of those muscles in the back of your body? And then let's put our knees down if they're not already there and come down to lie on your belly. Okay. So there's actions of the shoulder blades that need to have them widen, and there's some that need to have them narrow. So when we come into a back bend, so when we lift up into cobra pose, feel the bottom tips of your shoulder blades drop down and toward the low spine. Inhale, lift up, the neck is long. Exhale, and melt back down. Now we're gonna do this with just hovering, so lift your hands off the ground. Feel the back of your body work. So the shoulder blades, they're not squeezing toward each other, so feel the difference. Come lower on the ground for a moment. Feel the shoulder blades squeezing toward each other, and this probably just crunches up your neck. Relax that for a moment. Take the shoulder blades down the back and take the bottom tips of the shoulder blades toward the lumbar spine. All this room in the neck and shoulders. Breathe your way up a little bit. Feel the hovering. We're not touching the ground. We're working with the muscles in the back. Support with your core as well. And then exhale and melt back down. Pick up your feet, turn your head one way or the other. Just relax, windshield wiper your knees. So the shoulders in a lot of our yoga postures can very much be supported by the torso muscles, by the muscles along your spine, by the broader lats and the serratus muscles. These muscle groups can really help unburden the shoulders a little bit so we're not bearing all the weight in our shoulder joints. Come back up onto all fours and swish the spine around. Swirl and move. Any kind of body movement, torso movement that helps your back feel nice and relaxed. Okay, find your way one more time to dog pose. Now remember, if dog pose is difficult, if overhead shoulder movements are hard for your body, you can come to dog pose even with one hand on a piece of furniture and keep your other hand on your hip. There's ways to modify everything. Okay. Breathe well. Let's bring our right foot forward and we're going to come open to the side. Okay. Find your breath. Once you get upright, standing, we're going to find Virabhadrasana with those platter arms again. So drop the shoulder blades down, bottom tips of the shoulder blades kind of drawing a line toward, like a V toward the lumbar spine. Open up your hands like platters. Bend your knee and come into Virabhadrasana. And feel free if you need to, bend and straighten a couple times to find where you need to be with your legs. Ground yourself. Feel the back side of the shoulders work for you. Okay, and then relax your arms. Dangle them for a moment. And when we bring them out to the sides, flip your palms open. Slide the shoulder blades down the back and stretch from your heart to your fingertips. See if you can only turn your palms over. Keep the elbows pointing up and stretch from your sternum to your middle fingers. Find the neck soft and relaxed. The base of the skull is soft. So we're not working with lifting our arms up from our neck. We're supporting our shoulders from those V's in our back. And let's come into a reverse warrior. Stretch that side body. Give your thigh a break for a moment. Stretch your legs straight and then come back down into Parsvottanasana. Your elbow can be on your knee. Your hand can be on your knee. Your hand can be on a block on the inside or outside of your shin. There's lots of variations to take. Whatever's happening, make sure this shoulder doesn't cram up toward your ear. Slide the shoulder blades down the back. Feel the bottom tips form that V with the lumbar spine. If you tend to have shoulder overhead issues, and even if you don't, slide the arm in front of you so you graze across your face as you lift your arm up in the air. Turn the palm to face behind you, pinky side down, to help you feel that external, it'll feel like internal rotation, but it's actually external rotation of the arm bone. Notice your legs, ground yourself. Can you feel that connection from your hand to your foot? Okay, and then come back up. And let's do the same poses on the other side. Maybe you need a block, maybe you don't. Okay. So when we start Virabhadrasana, let's start with our platters. So before we even bend our knee, drop the shoulders down away from the ears. So much of our problem is when we try to lift our shoulders from our ears, and we have this like connection point between ears and shoulders that we engage. And this just creates a lot of tension in our neck, and it messes with our breath. It's not a good position. So instead, feel that the support of your shoulders is coming from those muscles in the back. The shoulder blade points are pointing down toward the lumbar spine. Platter open your arms so you feel the backside of your rotator cuffs work and feel the space in your neck. Stretch your collarbones to your shoulders. Support yourself from the torso instead of from your neck. When you're ready, stretch your arms out, palms stay open up toward the sky. Put a little weight in your hands. When you're ready, just turn your palms over, not your shoulders. Still externally rotating with the shoulders. Still shoulder blade tips moving down to the lumbar spine. The neck is soft. Feel your full breath. Okay, reverse your warrior. And then give your thigh a moment break. And then come back. Elbow comes on your knee, or perhaps your hand comes on the block, or your hand is on your knee. Both shoulder blades down, away from the ears. Find that neck space. Shoulder blades tips toward the lumbar spine. Open up the platter on that hand on your knee so that you feel the shoulder blades work. Slide the arm in front of you, graze across your face, and lift that arm to the sky. Connect fingers to heel. Turn the palm toward the wall behind you, pinky down. Breathe into the neck, let it relax. Notice if when when we're habituated into a pattern and working hard, our habits come back. So if you're a shoulder gripper up toward the ears, it's gonna come back. So you have to keep finding and reminding yourself to drop the shoulder blades down and use your core strength. And this, by core, I don't mean just your belly, I mean your torso. All right, let's go ahead and come out of the pose and find one last dog pose. Come to the front of your mat. Invigorate your hands toward each other, root index finger mounds. Come onto your knees and then come onto your belly. Take your arms behind you, down at your sides, not behind you, just down next to you, palms facing the floor. Lift the heads of the arm bones, drop the shoulder blades down the back. Collarbones broad, neck is long and spacious. Take a deep breath in, lift either just your upper body and arms or your legs too. Triceps engage. Breathe here. Exhale and melt. Turn your head one way or the other. Pick up your feet and rock. Okay, let's come over onto our back. Find your breath. Okay, lay down on your back. Bring your knees to your chest for a moment and rock left and right. Let things be easy, gentle. Put your feet down onto the ground. We're going to do this passively, so a block underneath the pelvis, either at the low or mid height. You decide how high you want it to be. Rock onto the tops of the shoulders, so roll the shoulders open. And let's have either your arms down at your sides, you can bend your elbows, whatever's going to help you. Now, often when we strain in this pose, we end up pushing our neck down into the ground. Let the head have a little pressure, not the neck. So see what it feels like to lift your chin. If you tend to be a very habituated chin tucker in this pose, which is how we're traditionally taught, find a little gap between your chin and your chest and let your chin be neutral and lift your chest to meet your neutral chin instead of pulling. A lot of times our chests are tighter. So what we'll do is we won't open our chest and we'll just drop our chin down. So instead, neutral chin, space in the throat, and lift the chest toward the chin. Relax the neck. Arms can go wherever you want them. All right, then let's come out of the posture. Lie on the ground, feet, knees bent, feet on the floor, and just windshield wiper your knees left and right. All right. Bring your knees in, rock a little bit. Maybe happy baby pose, maybe you hold your feet, maybe you hold behind your knees, maybe you're still just knees to chest holding the front of your shins. Just let your back relax. And then put the feet on the ground
And we're going to cross one one elbow right on top of the other. And give yourself a hug. Let your hands come around to the shoulders and be very gentle. So we're just softening. Change the cross, other arm on top. Okay, and then relax. Last pose before Shavasana. Pick up your head, tuck your chin, knees in. And relax the head and place your feet or your legs onto the ground. Turn your head left and right a couple of times. Release tension in your neck. Lift your shoulders up and slide the shoulder blades down the back. Move your head around again. And then rest in Shavasana. If there's, if you need support underneath your knees or head, then by all means support yourself. Whenever you get to the place where you're gonna quiet the body and rest, can you let the heads of the arm bones, imagine sandbags on the heads of the arm bones, or two hands, like if someone was, pressing gently their hands into your shoulders, into the floor. Very gentle. Can you relax the base of the skull? Can you soften your chest, your belly, your spine? Feel the deep weight of your arms and legs. Feel the heaviness of your head. If your back is at all talking, because that was a lot of strength work in the back body, feel free to scooch closer to a chair or a couch and put your legs up on the chair or couch. This can be soothing to the back of the body. Allow yourself to relax and melt.
Let's begin to deepen our breathing. Before you move, just feel that deep weight again. Let your body rest. Find your way moving onto your side as you're ready. Take your time. And when you come upright, find that sense of ease. Relax the shoulders. Let's offer our intentions, our prayers outward. Share your energy. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Blessings on the day.